Fridays are awesome. Welcome to CNN Student News. With your last show of February, I'm Carl Azus. Ukraine has seen a lot of changes in a short amount of time. It's divided. Some Ukrainians want closer ties with the European Union. Some, like its ousted president, want closer ties with Russia. Ukraine's parliament voted out President Viktor Yanukovych last weekend after violent protests in the capital. He's taken refuge in Russia. Yesterday, Parliament voted on a temporary government to hold things together until elections in May. But then there's Crimea. It's a region of southern Ukraine where many people support the ousted president and want closer ties with Russia. Protesters there stormed a government building and raised the Russian flag yesterday. And Russia has started military exercises near its border with Ukraine. A Russian official says these were previously scheduled and not related to Ukraine's unrest. Ice jam. It almost sounds like something you'd want to see. You don't if you live anywhere near one. You know, it's been a brutally cold winter for the northern U.S. Some rivers in the region have frozen, then melted, then refrozen and crusted over with large, thick chunks of crushed ice. In the Kankakee River in Illinois, ice jams stretch for miles. Some people who live nearby are leaving their homes. One reason? How ice jams can affect areas near a river. Say there's a bridge with supports in the water. Drifting chunks of ice can get caught near them, clogging up the flow of water, forming a dam. The water needs somewhere to go, so it floods the riverbanks. And that may not be the worst thing that can happen.
Everyone we're talking to who lives around here says they've never seen this river looking like this. During the summer, this is a very popular place to go boating. But right now, it looks like a glacier landscape in Alaska.
Well, the water looks to be still. Nothing's moving, and that seems like a good thing. But in fact, there is still water piling up underneath, making the pressure higher. So all of a sudden, this is going to break through, and you could see big pieces of ice into people's homes. You could see the ice dam up and big flooding go around it.
Here it goes. Here it goes.
This is what it looks like when an ice jam finally breaks.
Suddenly, the entire river started moving extremely fast, like a freight train.
This was Ohio's Rocky River last week.
You know those nutrition labels on the sides of food you buy at the store? They've been around since the early 1990s. Now, the U.S. government wants to make changes to them. This is what the old label looks like. Lists servings, calories, fat, vitamins. The Food and Drug Administration wants big, bold labels for total calories, and it wants to change some dietary guidelines for things like sodium and vitamins. It's hoping this will help Americans make healthier choices. But the changes could cost the food industry $2 billion to implement. That could mean higher prices. And listed serving sizes could be higher too.
I think the best way to put this, maybe this would have been 4 servings in the past. And they say, look, what does a typical person really eat? Let's give them that information. Maybe this is more like 2 servings now. They'll say that. So you'll see the nutrition information for 2 servings. Or if you're going to eat something likely in one single sitting, I don't know, could you eat this in a single sitting?
Yes.
You can't eat just one, right, they say. But they're going to say, look, okay, we know that this is typically considered 4 servings, but we know it's likely people will eat this in a single serving, so let's put that information on there as well. Or sodas.
So that'll be more prominent. So it'll say something like 10 chips equal this amount of calories and has this much fat.
It'll say that sort of stuff, but it'll also say if you eat this whole bag, here's what you're going to get. So you don't have to sit there and do the math. It'll make you think a little bit more maybe if you're keep eating.
Time for the shout out. Where would you find the Brumidi corridors, the Hall of Columns, and the Crypt? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it the U.S. Capitol, the Vatican, St. Basil's Cathedral, or St. Louis Cathedral? You've got 3 seconds. Go. All 3 of these are features of the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C.
There were also a couple movie stars on Capitol Hill yesterday. They were talking about some different issues that otherwise might not have been in the spotlight. They were raising awareness. But how much influence do celebrities have when they talk about issues that lawmakers already know about? How much does star power influence you? How much does it influence Congress?
When celebrities come to Washington, the media and the politicians take notice. But does the spectacle of the star outshine or shed light on the cause they've come to promote?
often hearings in Congress are not about members of Congress learning something that they don't already know. It's performance art. If they wanted to really learn about issues, they could get it from a briefing book.
On Wednesday, Oscar winner Ben Affleck arrived in Washington, D.C. to speak about the crisis in the Congo.
Finally, it's just a pleasure to be back here in the State Department after the real State Department. So I had to fake it for Argo. I get to see the real thing here. So
the Argo director has brought his cause to the table time and time again.
My name is Ben Affleck, and fought on Congolese soil, on working with and for the people of Eastern Congo.
Just a few marble pillars away, actor Seth Rogen testified about the effects of Alzheimer's, which his mother-in-law suffers from. Now sure, these appearances bring some buzz, but ultimately, does anyone remember why Stephen Colbert testified before Congress? Or Bob Barker? Or Elton John? Or do they just remember that they did, with the cause lost in the flash of camera lights? Truth is, that is up to the celebrities' commitment to the cause and the journalists covering them. Congo and Alzheimer's likely wouldn't be in the news today without Affleck and Rogen. Telling some stories without obvious news events is tough to do. Water shortages in developing nations got our attention last year, in part because of Matt Damon's involvement.
You attaching yourself to this means I will be sitting here interviewing you, talking about an issue I probably wouldn't, and people at home, viewers, will be paying attention to an issue that they wouldn't otherwise pay attention to.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Affleck's close friend co-founded water.org. And their pal George Clooney is a longtime advocate for peace in Sudan, even getting arrested outside the embassy in 2012.
I think we all individually felt that if cameras were going to follow us around, why not make something good out of that?
Celebrities bring attention to an issue, and especially if that issue is not the sexiest issue, if you get Ben Affleck involved, all of a sudden it's a little more interesting.
That's something most politicians have known for a while. Jake Tapper, CNN, Washington.
Not going to let a Friday go by without a quick CNN Student News roll call. Who's on today's roll? The Spartans are. La Cañada High School in La Cañada, California. Hope you're doing well on the West Coast. Up north in the Badger State, how about the Warriors? Lac du Flambeau Public School in Lac du Flambeau, Wisconsin. Glad you're watching. And we must mention the Mustangs. Thank you for checking out CNN Student News at More Traditional High School. Happy to see you guys in Louisville, Kentucky. There are a lot of things that can distract news anchors when we're live on the air. Fortunately, we're a pre-recorded show, so we can just edit that out. Probably won't. But when the distraction takes on a mind and 8 legs of its own, yeesh.
Scare anybody? In Bakersfield, California, it was sunny with a 100% chance of arachnids.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys see that? Sorry. There was a spider that fell.
Oh!
Ah!
Yet another weatherman.
Creeped out right now.
KBAK's Aaron Perlman has been attacked by a spider while on the air.
Take it easy, Perlman. Take it easy.
I hate spiders, man. Just especially when you're bald, you feel them crawling on your head.
Ooh, yeah.
But suddenly, the spider became itsy bitsy, and Aaron joined the ranks of weather people ambushed by arachnids.
Oh my gosh, that was creepy. Oh, of course he had to be right on my head. Oh, I just don't like that. Okay, I gotta move it.
The spider wasn't even in the studio last year when Global BC's Christy Gordon freaked out. It was just hanging out on the lens of a camera stationed outdoors. Jeannie Mo, CNN, New York.
That audacious arachnid knew he had a victim when he spied her. It was no cephalothor accident. When it comes to getting a leg up on prey, spiders are always up to something. You know where you can always look up a spider? On a website. You can also find CNN Student News next Monday on iTunes or on the web. We're done with these crawl puns. Have a great weekend, y'all.